Up next on Nebraska Stories, the healing power of art, with a tour of the Chihuly Sanctuary, a quilt made of hopes and dreams, dancing through barriers, and an artist redefines life with ADHD.
I think this is the first and largest single investment in a purposeful healing arts program that's part of a cancer center, designed from the ground up. We know that patients' feelings does have an impact on their disease. When patients are under stress, it can affect their immune system, it can affect their blood pressure, and that the immune system does play a role in all of illness. Over time, when these experiences are multiplied with multiple chances to visit the art and participate in its beauty and serenity and hope, we do believe that the arts, in a healing way, will provide a positive benefit on patients. Possibly in their outcomes, but definitely in their quality of life. We want this to be uplifting. We want this to take them away from where they are in their difficult periods and provide additional hope and inspiration to them.
I still consider myself a patient. So I was first diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia in August of 2014. And I went into remission. 2017, I was diagnosed again with acute myeloid leukemia. So I was in the hospital for long durations. There's days that you just want to get out. To go outside and get fresh air. I think back to those days that I had to wear the mask and gloves, and I remember going into the sanctuary and sitting there and looking up high because there's a glass there and you could see outside, and just praying to God, thanking Him for giving me another day, even on those darkest days. It actually took me away from my illness and let me think about peacefulness and calmness. I was able to pray and kind of meditate on the way I want my life to look, how I want to feel. I think that just looking at it changes your mindset. It keeps that hope inside you. I do feel that this truly helped me heal. I really do, in my heart of hearts. I definitely think it helped my healing.
Oh my goodness, it's good to see all of you.
It's an exciting day for artist Peggy Hartwell and the students who helped her create an unusual tapestry that's about to be unveiled.
Wait until you see the finished piece. It is so pretty.
It began the previous fall as the girls left their classrooms, got on a bus, and took a trip back in time to the Stour Museum of the Prairie Pioneer in Grand Island. These girls are from Sudan, Africa's largest country. Their families came to Nebraska as refugees. They go to school here, and they're quickly absorbing American culture. Today, an expert quilt maker from South Carolina will guide them as they create quilt blocks inspired by their memories of the past and dreams of the future.
My name is Peggy Hartwell, and I make story quilts. This quilt is about my dreams. When I was growing up, I had many dreams: to be a doctor, to be a nurse, but then I discovered dance. This is a dancer, and these are also little dancers going around. You're the artist, so you create what it is that you want to represent your dream.
Over the next 5 days, the girls get a crash course in quilt making. Their classes take place in historic homes, furnished just as they were in the late 19th century.
What dream is this?
That's a memory.
That's my...
Peggy Hartwell works with the girls one-on-one. Members of a Grand Island quilting club share what they know about fabric, color, and stitches.
There, very good.
Like this?
Right.
I need scissors.
Should be nice stitching. Yes. Listen to it sizzle, listen. Maybe she has a longer skirt?
I'll make the pants.
Oh, pants, okay. And your piece is so nice. Tomorrow, if I have time, I'd like to show you how to make a decorative stitch around that heart. It's going to make it just pop up. It's just going to be so pretty.
Famine and war have killed over 2 million Sudanese. One country is now 2. These girls are survivors. Many of their parents work in meatpacking plants, but they have bigger dreams.
My name is Waydon. My dream is to become a doctor. This is me being a doctor.
I want to be a judge and a lawyer. This is me holding up the gavel.
This would be me, and then this is the football, and this is me running to the goalpost with the football.
This is my dream that everybody gets houses and nobody poor eats outside in the dumpster. The dog says, ruff, ruff, and this is me smiling.
This country is an immigrant country, and I think sometimes we forget that, don't we? And Grand Island was founded with a group of people coming from Germany and settling here in the Platte Valley. It's just more of the same. They're just different colors, but they come the same way that the people that are my ancestors came from Germany, with very little and hopes for the future.
This is going to turn out great.
It's going to be wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great picture. Yes.
6 months later, the quilt woven of the hopes and dreams of Sudanese girls is about to be unveiled for the first time.
My name is Nayakim, and this is my dream.
When I look at those girls, I know that everything is possible. To stand in front of their quilt was unbelievable because for the first time they were able to see their voice on cloth. They were able to see in the complete form those blocks that they had created. The memory of Sudan combined with the dream of America, they were able to see it as a continuation of their hope.
Heidi Latsky is an award-winning performer and choreographer with a dance company that has toured the world. And yet, creating great art is only part of her goal. She also wants to change the way people think, especially with her latest work entitled GIMP.
There's something about the body that we have, inhabiting that body that we have, using that body as the expression of who we are and discovering what that body can do that nobody else can do.
The company features dancers with prosthetic limbs, muscular dystrophy, and other issues that challenge notions of dance, performance, and body image. Right now, they're preparing for a premiere at Lincoln's Lead Center.
To me, the people that I work with are beautiful and multifaceted, and that's when I started thinking, how could we, when we bring GIMP to a community, get dancers and people with disabilities to be in it with us?
The hazards of disabled dancing.
One of the lead dancers in the performance has cerebral palsy. He's a former disability advocate who was nearly 40 years old before he started dancing.
People seem to think of dancers in one way, and they seem to think of people with disabilities in a certain way. This is no prearranged safe marriage. This is more of a collision. You know, it's two worlds that come together that were never supposed to be together.
Some have wondered if people with disabilities are being exploited in the dance, but the performance impacts the dancers as well.
We're not even expected to exist, to live, to thrive in the bodies that we've got. And so that's 90% of our bodies for most people that are cut off. So if we can help people, I think, inhabit the space of their own skin, you know, then something significant has happened.
From 1 to 2 to 3. And
for Heidi, this latest work is about diversity and inclusion, which is why for the first time she is working with local community members to create a dance piece.
Go 1. Gonna keep repeating it.
Barely off the plane from New York, Heidi leads the first of 3 rehearsals with a group of community members she has never met. Some have disabilities, some are young aspiring dancers.
Okay,
Together, this group of
So this is
strangers will
1,
perform at the Lead Center
right?
just
This
4
is
days from now.
2. Really feel the breath. This piece is about being watched, but it's also about being revealed. It's about being seen and being aware of being seen, and when you want to, and also being very private. And
Even with a mix of new and experienced dancers, disabled and not, everyone receives the same instruction. The rehearsal is intense. Some struggle with the experience.
Does anybody have any questions?
I don't want to waste your time, and my memory is so terrible that I don't think I could remember all the moves.
I think you should. I don't want you to worry about it.
But I don't want to screw up your...
You're not going to screw it up, because you know what we might do with you is something different. Thank you for telling me, because I think what we could do is, if you can't remember all of it, then I'll give you something very specific.
All right.
You want to do that?
Sure.
Yeah, because I want you to be in it.
Okay.
Okay?
No problem.
In 1998, Raphael Tate suffered a traumatic brain injury in a car accident. With rehabilitation, he's on the road to recovery, but he still has difficulties with memory retention.
I was totally green. I had no idea about anything. And today, it was a little challenging, you know, remembering all the moves and emotions, but I tried my best, and we'll see, I guess.
The fact that he could tell me that and offer to actually leave the process because he had such respect for the process was so refreshing. And I really thought about it the whole night. What am I going to do with him? And the next day, when I walked in, I had ideas for him, and then I just said to him, you know, I just want you to stand there and look at the audience and not move.
Amanda Recke was born with several congenital anomalies and had never even thought of dancing.
I was a little uncomfortable at first, but I don't really know how to describe it. I mean, it was pretty fun by the end. Yeah.
Amanda she struck something in my heart. She does a movement, it's just so uniquely her. She's fierce, her focus is clear, it's really honest. She doesn't know this. I told her I had to speak with her because I want her to know I would work with her. I'm going to put you in your places now, and then we're going to go over stuff. But I want to see what it looks like in the space, so...
By the third night, the group had their final full rehearsal at the Lead Center.
1, 2, 3.
And then it was time to perform. As the audience entered the theater to a soundtrack composed only of breathing, the community participants began their performance, on stage and from the audience. Next, Heidi Latsky's dance company took the stage with their own performance.
Part of what GIMP says is, do you want to look? You want to look? Look. Look, get a good look. You know, we give people the opportunity to stare, which you're not supposed to do out in the world, out in polite society. And I think by having the space to open that up, that you see a piece like this, which first and foremost has to work as art. You change attitudes, you change minds, you change possibilities.
I didn't expect it to be that beautiful. I didn't expect it to be that wonderful. And it really was. And it's made me feel like there's a lot more I could do, too.
It was really, really thrilling. I basically come from an all sports background, so coming out of that shell, you could say, was actually really, really fun for me.
I'm not used to moving naturally in my wheelchair. Heidi had us exploring our chairs and our bodies and not being afraid to do that. I learned how to be me in my chair.
This is not a sentimental piece. This is what we're fighting, is we don't want people to think that it's therapeutic or look how brave these people are getting on stage with dancers who've been training all their lives. This is a piece that uses the performers to their maximum, pushes them. I push them really hard. Never losing sight that this is an art piece. This is a dance piece. This is not a do-good piece.
I've been drawing for forever. Half of my pictures of me when I was younger were me coloring with my brother, me coloring with my grandma. And I've honestly wanted to be an artist pretty much my entire life. And so to now be doing comics or being able to make people laugh and talk about things I care about, it's been really great.
We're here together.
For here.
For here, all right. 493.
Danny Donovan, an artist with ADHD, has channeled her creativity to help others with the disorder. Through her mental health comics on life with ADHD, her works have gone viral in online communities.
It wasn't on purpose. I did not start making comics with this intention of like, I want to have this larger conversation about ADHD and I'm going to make this whole series of stuff and we'll see what happens. That was not it. I had an interest in mental health comics forever. I found them like maybe 2 years ago, and I just cried my face off finding some of these things that really, I mean, they weren't even sad. They just said something that I have felt my whole life and either never really thought about that much or hadn't processed or had never felt like someone else got it. And so that deep feeling really hit me.
Danny was diagnosed with ADHD later than most, while a freshman in college.
It's such a relief for me and for a lot of people to have not a reason, but an explanation for, well, maybe this is why I've felt different my whole life.
ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. The newest nomenclature is either ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, with hyperactivity or without hyperactivity. So, as best we understand ADHD, it is a different way that your brain sort of processes information and thinks. It has nothing to do with intelligence or ability to learn. It's more related to how you think and how you learn.
For me, I kick into this thing called hyperfocus a lot, which not everyone with ADHD has. My brain gets so fixated on the thing that I'm doing that I forget, I say what time is, but don't realize how much time is passing, get into really like obsessive perfecting mode. So for design, for me, it's been, say, a blessing and a curse because I can stay up till 5 in the morning working on something that I'm really interested in and perfect it. I can't stop or my brain, gets angry. When I'm in the mood to make a comic, it's cathartic in a way that I get to talk about stuff that I haven't talked about before.
As Danny began to explore this medium as a way to communicate about ADHD, her first foray went viral.
I had this idea for drawing how my thought process works and the pattern that I've done so many times. It was so easy to draw because I do it constantly. I want people to know that I made it for them. I didn't try to make it to appeal to the widest amount of people that I could. It turns out there were a lot of people who liked it and that it applies to a lot of people. I knew pretty quickly, like, wow, this is a thing because it was like maybe an hour in and it was at like 400 likes. It was viewed by like 24 million people in like 3 days. And so it was this incredible moment of me trying to add up, okay, how many giant cities is that? Like, is that New York plus LA plus Chicago? You know, as far as just trying to even conceptualize how many people had seen this or how many people liked this. It's definitely rewarding work to not just affect people who directly have ADHD, because it is really important to feel understood and seen, especially with a disorder that is much more complicated than, oh, you have attention problems. There's just there's so much there.
Along with the popularity of her comics in the ADHD community, she's seen her profile rise.
I got hit up by Penguin Random House to do like a illustrated memoir of my childhood, which is crazy because that's on my bucket list, and I thought for sure that's one of the things that I'm like, I don't have the attention span to make a book. And so being able to do that, and so it's great and a little overwhelming because I have more things that I'm interested in that people want to collaborate on than I can possibly do.
While these ADHD comics serve to show how people are affected by the disorder, she makes certain to mention it is not a diagnostic tool.
I have specifically put in, if anyone asks me, does this mean I have ADHD? My response is always, no, not necessarily. If you look at my entire body of work as a whole and you're relating to most of them, if not all of them, you would go talk to a doctor to have people tell us that you're changing lives because people are getting help now. That's probably the best part. You can't feel what it feels like to be me, but like, I'm gonna try to help you get it. That's what I go for with my comics, and I think that's what we need to be aiming for kind of as a whole. It's very interesting, and I'm not gonna cry. I never felt like I was understood and seen. And so they say to make the kind of content that you want to see and that you wish you'd seen. And so I feel like I get to do that now, and it feels like such a privilege and purposeful work that I get to do all my favorite things. I get to feel like I'm helping people and improving lives.
Watch more Nebraska Stories on our website, Facebook, and YouTube. Nebraska Stories is funded in part by the Margaret and Martha Thomas Foundation.